On December 31st, New Year's Eve, we switched to January 1st, New Year's Day. And so many of us thought that this was a leap from one year to another. And this was a change. But last week, from last Saturday, January 16th to right now, I think many of us really experienced a crosswise leap. There are many, as much as 3 large events that mark this big shift. Because on Saturday, January 16th, we observe Ho Onko, the memorial service commemorating Shinran Shonin, the founder of Jodo Shinshu, or Shin Buddhism. And he was the one that recognized that the Buddha Dharma, the Buddhist teaching, could be understood by common ordinary people. And so he opened up a way that ordinary people could have the same awakening that monks in monasteries could have. And that was a big shift. The second event happened last Monday as we enjoyed Martin Luther King Jr.'s holiday. And this celebrated the life and birth of Martin Luther King. His whole life was dedicated to justice and the equal treatment of all people. His efforts really led to the Black Power movement of the 1970s and 80s. And this inspired other communities, such as the Asian awareness groups. And there were many things that were initiated, like the ethnic studies programs at universities. And young Asians at that time began to question the legitimacy of the Presidential Executive Order 9066, which removes all people of Japanese ancestry from the West Coast. And that was painful for many people. Anyone of Japanese ancestry was removed from the West Coast, lost their homes, farms, businesses, all their personal belongings, and they were moved inland and incarcerated in 10 camps. Now, it was so painful that many people, adults at that time of my age and older, were hesitant to speak out. But it was because of these young activists that their efforts led to something called the Redress Campaign. And there were commissions that encouraged Niseis to give testimonials as to what happened during that time and their experience. And their efforts led to the Civil Liberties Act of 1988 that offered restitution and an apology. The members of this temple were directly affected. Now that shift from 1942 to 1988, almost half a century, happened because there was a shift in expanding knowledge and truth as to what really happened during that time. And so the inequitable treatment of Japanese Americans and of Buddhists by our government showed that even now, this type of behavior can affect all of us. The third event that really shifted things happened last Wednesday. The inauguration of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris as President and Vice President of the United States of America. There was a shift in political leadership. Kamala Harris is the first woman to be vice president. She's also the first person of African and Asian descent to be in that office. And the Biden cabinet really represents the most diverse group of women and minorities. And also there was a shift in the commitment to science, facts, and truth. And so these 3 changes really happened and we experienced these shifts. But although there was a change in the political leadership, there still exists a vast chasm. As Buddhists, we must consider whether the words we hear are consistent with the Buddha's Dharma, the teachings of the Buddha. Because the Buddha challenged us to test out teachings and even his words by our own experience. So now America is divided by 2 stories of reality. Which words resonate with truth? The words, activities, attitude, and laws of our national leadership in the last 4 years really resulted in ethnic and religious division. There's suspicion of our own national security institutions, disbelief of our news media. We've been alienated from our foreign allies and have emboldened those who have opposed us. We've been ignoring scientific and health concerns that has caused a global pandemic to be ignored. And the national leadership has really been incompetent in responding to restoring our economy and our education system. And especially, they have been advocating violence as a justified response to a democratic system of election. So this continuous and loud assertion of lies has resulted in a violent attack and a desecration of our national capital, and also on Congress itself while it was in session on January 6th. The executive branch of our government attacked the legislative branch. So how might we mend this divide? Martin Luther King noted that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. And this is consistent with the Dhammakaya Bodhisattva, who said that all beings will be born in his land, which means that we will all be awakened to truth. So we are part of this moral arc and also of the primal vow. And it's just because we exist. So which way will we help to make this arc bend? Will we be part of those who refuse to wake up? Or will we be the ones to wake up and help bend the arc toward justice? I have suggested that initially, we don't do something. We first do nothing. Just sit and breathe. Before going off to do something, we need to stop and have some introspection. Otherwise, we might descend into our teenage mentality and just argue and not get much done, blaming others for our problems. First, let's be centered. How do we feel right now? I feel that many people feel like I felt this week. I felt relieved. So let's really feel this shift. Let's sit and breathe. Please join me as we sit, relax, and inhale life, hold and appreciate, exhale and let go, relax. Again, just inhale life, hold and appreciate, exhale and let go, relax. Of course, this is what we do naturally all the time, just breathing in and breathing out. But when we become aware of it by voicing these things, we realize that this breathing is being alive as a gift, and we awaken to life. And we've been practicing this in our Buddhism 1, 2, 3, so we invite you to join us, because our participants say that it does work. And it helps us realize that we're here because of the efforts of others, Amida Buddha. If our lives are unsettled and uncentered, distressed, it's because of ignorance, hatred, and greed. Shinran tells us in this way, the clouds and mist of anger, hatred, and ignorance hide the light of the sun. But beneath the clouds and mist, there is brightness, not dark. So if we're focusing on the dark clouds, we need to take a crosswise leap to see the light. So let's do this. Put up your hand so you can't see my face. Now you see that if we make a crosswise leap and just move our perspective, we can see. And this is what I think he means. We need to take a different view, a different perspective. And this is what we can do when we breathe in life and really appreciate what others have provided for us. And we don't have to blame others for things that we don't have. And then we exhale and let go. And what we're letting go sometimes is our belief that has caused us discomfort. For letting go is important. This feeling of relief, of just letting go of fear and apprehension. And we've always let go of old, untrue beliefs that's kept us from being mature. As you can recall, as we mature and grew, we let go of some old beliefs. I think we let go of the tooth fairy. I hope some children aren't listening to us, but there are many beliefs like that. You know, we thought that food, clothing, and shelter were just provided for us. And we let go of that as we realized that it was our parents that provided these things. And we realized that our parents, older people, and teachers were perhaps more wise, and they were right. You know, I can think of my mother when I used to argue with her as a teenager, and she would say, you know, be sure to bring a sweater or jacket, and I might ignore her. But I would realize that when I was out and it was getting cold, that she was right, and I should have done these things. Wear a jacket. As adults, we can see and appreciate that much of what we have is due to the efforts of others, of Amida Buddha. So we shift our focus from appreciating the efforts of others for our benefit, and we take responsibility for the things that we don't have, and we don't blame others. Let's make a crosswise leap, shift our perspective to seeing life in a different way. And for a guide, the meditation, metta, or loving kindness meditation, shows us the way. And it says, may all beings be happy and well. May no harm or difficulty come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. And the next 6 verses goes this way. It starts with all beings, and then it goes on to, may I be happy and well. May no harm or difficulty come to me. May I live in peace and harmony. And it goes on to, may my family be happy and well. May no harm or difficulty come to them. And it goes on to, may my friends be happy and well. May no harm or difficulty come to them. And it expands to, may strangers be happy and well. May no harm or difficulty come to them. And then it goes on to say, may my enemies be happy and well. May no harm or difficulty come to them. May all beings be happy and well. May no harm or difficulty come to them. May they live in peace and harmony. So you see, there's a shift. It goes from me to my enemies, all beings. We should be aware that we just don't wish this. We take responsibility to help make this happen. When I let go of my animosity toward my enemies, I feel better and healthier. It's difficult to do, but it's something that is necessary, because just to feel that we have to, resolve the attacks of someone else is debilitating. Think about this. If we have to wait and depend on the action of someone else for us to feel better, that's giving the other people some power. I won't feel good until the other person feels bad. Now, that means that my welfare is really dependent on the other person, and I don't have any control over that. When I was younger, there were a couple of guys that I thought were jerks. I think I used another word for that, but this happened, I remember one guy in high school and another one in college. But later, I realized that my happiness was not dependent on their behavior. And although, it kind of felt good to talk bad about them, I decided to not think about them at all, just to let it go. My happiness did not depend on their lives. And fortunately, they weren't really involved closely in my life. Unfortunately, for some of us, there are either family, co-workers, or even the boss that may have these bad effects on us. But before I go on to move the arc of the moral universe, I need to be centered and feel relieved. We can think that even the Buddha sat in contemplation for weeks after his enlightenment. And then he stood up to share the truth of the Dharma. And so at this time, I think before we move forward, it's important that I sit and contemplate my own teenage mentality, my limitations, my blaming others for my problem. And I'm not saying that we just let those who lied and used violence, that they should be forgotten. I don't want to interfere with their karma, that they have to experience the result of their misconduct, because ignoring their misconduct would only deepen their misconduct and perhaps lead to more. It's like developing a spoiled child and immature adults. Those who create division should not expect others on the other side to heal it. So we're at a turning point right now. For most of us, we really experienced this crosswise leap. we experience the shift and we feel relief. We can continue on this old path of division or lead the way to compromise and unity. But before we take action, let's take in this moment of relief. This week, we have just exhaled and let go. Now, let's just relax and enjoy the moment. Let's appreciate what others have done for us. When we have a life where we are able to take part in our own future and the future of our children, we must really be centered. For our children, will they live in a world of lies and make-believe, or will they live in a world of truth? And we'll talk about this in the future, about how the Dharma may lead us toward a world of truth and bend the arc of the moral universe toward justice. So please join me now in acknowledging the efforts of others represented by Amida Buddha. Let's express our deepest appreciation by voicing the Nembutsu. Gassho, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namandas, Namandas, Namandas.